Earlier this year, there was one day in which I woke up and instantly thought, I wish I could play a recent detective indie game akin to Return of Obra Dinn in its uniqueness and brilliance that also involves 40 years of conspiracies surrounding a specific artifact. Well, wouldn't you know it, despite my very specific desires, there was one game released in October 13th, 2022 that fit the bill to a T. The Case of the Golden Idol. What? You're saying that I played this game and then made up this whole thoughts after waking up just for comedic effect and to open my review? And that it didn't even work because it wasn't funny at all? Nonsense! Stop being so cynical, life is too short for that. The opening paragraph may have been a pointless and not so funny joke, but it does contain the truth. This game is a great detective experience that is the closest we've had to Obra Dinn in the indie detective/investigation genre. So much so, in fact, that Lucas Pope, the creator of Obra Dinn, has highly praised The Case of the Golden Idol, a fact that is proudly displayed in their Steam store page. And let me tell you, the praise is warranted. While the title probably did serve as inspiration for this game, both are quite different in terms of gameplay. After you start each case in Golden Idol, you usually are faced with a crime in some parts of the map. Your goal is, thus, to discover what sequence of events led to that specific result. In order to accomplish that, the gameplay is divided into two halves, exploring and thinking. During exploring half, you, explore. There are usually multiple screens you can see, and each screen you can click through to gather information. And perhaps most importantly, keywords that will be used later on. If you're worried about these things being hard to locate, fret not. The game has an optional mode that highlights all clickable items, making them yellow if you still have information to uncover, and red if you found all there is to know. I highly recommend turning that on. The thinking half does nothing to change the point-and-click style gameplay. It basically presents you with multiple scrolls that you must fill in. For most cases, one of these scrolls will have the sequence of events that happened in the map, with blanks that you must fill in with the keywords you located during the exploring half. Another one of these scrolls often contain every person in the map, with their names blanked out so you can complete them. The last couple of scrolls or so vary a lot according to the map, but they all involve filling in blanks to uncover clues. It's important to note one thing though. There is only one obligatory scroll for you to fill, which is the sequence of events. Anything else is only there to support you. See, once you fill each scroll, you get one of three feedbacks. Either the scroll is complete, 2 or less names are wrong, or the entire thing's just plain wrong. I mean, obviously not the entire thing, but the game is not gonna tell you if you missed anything past 2. If you're not sure about the sequence of events from the get-go, and trust me, you most likely won't be, then it helps to fill the other scrolls in. Let me give you an example. In one map, the one you're seeing right now, a guest was poisoned. I already knew their identity, but I didn't know how it had happened. One of the scrolls asked me to find out who was sitting in which position at the dinner table, so I decided to tackle that. Before tackling that, however, I need to find out the guests' names. Doing that and getting confirmation that I was correct allowed me to associate the names and certain traits that I found out about them while investigating to objects found on the table, which in turn allowed me to find out where the victim was sitting. I then got confirmation that the scroll was correct, which allowed me to see what the victim was consuming, find out the poisoned item, and mentally finish the sequence of events in my head. See? You don't need to do the other scrolls, as the game asks you only to complete the sequence of events, but the others are there to guide you, and they do a lot in that regard. But this is far from being the only help you'll get from the game. The cases are incredibly well interconnected, and some characters are involved in multiple of them. As such, knowledge from prior cases will help you a lot, and in some occasions will absolutely be required to complete all the data in each case. In a fascinating manner, this also works the opposite way. Revisiting past cases will often lead you to realize that details foreshadowing later game discoveries were always present there. You just lack the knowledge to realize it. To me, this is the mark of a great narrative in a game. Just remember though, even if you do know the name of some of the characters due to prior cases, you will still need to find the keywords again to fill in the blanks. Although this isn't really challenging in the slightest, so don't worry. And if you're particularly stuck in a case, the game has a very helpful hint menu to assist you. These help features that the game offers you are absolutely needed as well, because the game can get very hard at times. I managed to finish the game without using any hints, thankfully, but it did take me about 5 hours. I will say this though, every single second racking my brain trying to understand what happened that led to the outcome I was seeing was absolutely worth it. Working out each sequence of events has been a highlight of my gaming year, and it evoked in me a feeling that I haven't had since Obra Dinn, which is that aha moment when something clicks and you work out everything that happened. And every single time the game confirms that your theories are correct via the scrolls just makes you want to play the game even more, as you gain the hope that you are, in fact, not as dumb as you thought. That is, until the game crushes that hope again with the next hurdle in your detective skills. At least, that's how it went for me. I cannot stress this enough, the gameplay was a blast. But what about the rest? Well, the story and narrative are also massively done. The cases all revolve around the titular golden idol, with one overarching mystery behind the 12 murders. Honestly, I know a few folks found the conclusion to everything kinda lackluster, but I was very happy with how the game tied everything together and concluded its narrative. The writing and the puzzles themselves is solid, requiring more deduction skills than guessing skills, which is always what a good detective game should aim for. The art style and the soundtrack are also great. The graphics are retro-styled, and while I know some folks are not fans of that, I am. It's a very good looking game. The soundtrack is subtle at times, but it also perfectly complemented each case. Take a listen to one of them. In terms of issues, I didn't run into any glitches whatsoever, but I did find it a questionable design decision to have keywords vanish from the list at the bottom of the screen once you complete the scroll. I get that you can now drag the keywords from said completed scroll and thus there is no need for the bottom ones anymore, but I much preferred having them all in one place. Plus, I was fooled at the start thinking those keywords would no longer be used in other scrolls as they vanished from the list I was pulling from, but that is absolutely not the case, a fact which I learned fairly quickly. Some other people did report finding the game boring and unintuitive, resulting in the player randomly assigning terms to the blanks until the game tells you got the scroll right. I won't lie that I did resort to that a couple of times, but I can't help but feel that it's because my logic skills were just not up to par. As the game gives you the "you have less than 2 names wrong" hint in the scrolls, once I got to that point I did test out multiple combinations and the name I knew was wrong. But honestly, overall I found that pondering and rationalizing each scenario got me very far, so I didn't really run into the issue mentioned here. And also, playing with a controller is a pain. This was, after all, very much designed with the mouse in mind. This is a point and click after all. If you just want my TLDR, this is it. Get the game. It's an incredible experience for those that truly want to feel like a detective, uncovering hints and the truth behind each scenario before moving on to the next and eventually uncovering the entire conspiracy behind all the events. If you do end up getting the game, let me know how you like it. And now for the fun YouTube stuff. If you liked this video, if it was useful to you, please do leave a like and subscribe as it really helps out the channel. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.